So I've seen some discourse online about the Lan and Moiraine dynamic and some people's thoughts on it. I had thoughts, and I was about to say them in an online discussion and realized I have a YouTube channel. I'm going to say it in my YouTube video. So that's what this video is going to be. I'm going to be discussing this, and I'm recording this after I just recorded the video because I wanted to see how far I went as far as spoilers are concerned. This is sort of an off-the-cuff video. So I'm going to be discussing things that happen in the Eye of the World and the Great Hunt, not the end of the Great Hunt. And I'm actually not going to be discussing really significant plot points. I'm talking about character moments that happen between mostly Lan and Nynaeve, or Lan and Moiraine, I should say, and then some things that happen with Nynaeve. So yeah, no spoilers for the end of the Great Hunt and no real plot spoilers at all. So this is a fairly safe video. I very rarely make those. But yeah, so yeah, I'm going to be getting into this. But before we start this video, I do want to continue to encourage you to support the WGA and SAG-AFTRA. If you can, if you have the means, please consider donating to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation or the Entertainment Community Fund. Links to both of those are in the description below. They are helping to support the writers and the actors and other industry professionals who are not able to work right now because filming is largely shut down. So yeah, like I said, links in the description, and let's get into the video.
Let's be nerdy with Let's Be Nerdy. Let's be nerdy with Let's Be Nerdy.
So in the Great Hunt, in the book, The Great Hunt, there is a scene between Lan and Moiraine where Moiraine is morally ambiguous, to put it mildly. First of all, she asks him a bunch of disjointed questions, like she asks him about the time they first met and whatnot, to basically put him off his guard. And then she tells him that she has already passed his bond to someone else, like not right away, but like in the event of her death, she has already made arrangements for his bond to automatically pass to another Aes Sedai, a green Aes Sedai, named Morel. And I think most of the fandom is in agreement that Lan is going to be taking the place of Morel. This is something that has not been done for a very long time, and it upsets Lan a lot. Understandably, you don't do that. This is not something that's been done for ages. He has no consent, and it will force him to behave in a certain way. Like if she ever dies, he will feel compelled to do something. And yeah, it is a violation of his autonomy as a person. It is not great. You know, there is obviously like this is a gray area. There's nuance in this because she knows Lan. She knows him very, very well in the books. She knows that in the event of her death, he's going to hurl himself at the Blight or hurl himself at something, basically in an attempt to die. Like he has this lifelong quest to fight the concept of the Blight, which is like she has given him something else to fight for so that he is not uselessly dying. And so she's trying to save his life. There, like I said, there is moral ambiguity here, but it's not great. She is violating his consent. In the show, we are getting that, but heightened. And I actually feel like the show, well, I don't know. I don't want to say it's, because the show, Moiraine is a much larger character at this point in the story of the show than she is in the books, especially in the Great Hunt. In the Great Hunt, she's there for like this particular, I think there may be 1 or 2 chapters, and then she sort of vanishes and she comes back at the end. So she's a much more present character. So we are getting to see the nuance here, and there is nuance.
So tell me the truth.
And she says,
we were never equals.
Yeah, Moiraine says we were never equals. And I know how Lan interprets that. And I'm pretty sure I know how most of the fandom watching, or a lot of the fandom watching, will interpret that she is thinking she is superior to him. I don't think that's what she's saying at all. In fact, I think she's saying the opposite. Literally in that same conversation, just a couple of minutes before, we have this moment.
But it didn't faze you. I couldn't imagine the courage it took to face the shadow with nothing but a sword.
With nothing but a sword. With nothing but a sword. This is how she sees him. When Moiraine says we were never equals, she means she thinks he's better than she is. She thinks he has way more courage than she has, because she knows, as an Aes Sedai, she literally has the power that turns the wheel of time at her fingertips. But now she can't channel. so she doesn't have that power anymore. I think she's pushing him away here, much in the same way as she is in the books. In the books, she passes that bond. Again, I don't like it. Like he should have he should have the autonomy, the ability. He should be able to consent. Consent is important. But I also understand why she does it. She wants to save his life. In the show, I think she's doing the same thing because she's realized at least in her mind, she doesn't have anything to offer. In her mind, her having the ability to channel brought her almost to his level. Like maybe she had more power than he had, but he had more courage, more bravery, more strength of will. Because she had so much power, didn't need all of that. And now that she doesn't have that power, she sees herself way below him. And the thing is, she's been proven right in this season. In this fight between a Fade, you see this moment here.
Lan!
Yeah, she calls out his name because she has to, because they no longer have a bond. If you remember season 1, that fight that they had at Winter Night, there was no need. She never had to call his name. He never had to call his name. They sensed each other. They were in sync. They were able to fight together. Whereas here, he's blind. He's looking around. He can't see anything. She's there. She has to say his name because they don't have this anymore. She is not able to offer him any protection. Lan here, he gets mortally wounded. Like, I think in my reaction, I said, oh, I can hear the guts because like the sound effects are gross. But like, it's very clear. This wound that he takes, this is a killing wound. Now, Moiraine gets a similar wound, actually. She gets a gut swipe with that same sort of blade. And when she gets it, the way I interpreted what she does, she sort of crawls off to the side and watches as a Fade comes towards her. She's accepted her death. This is it. This is how I die. This is where my road has led me. She doesn't actually do anything to try or save herself at that point. Like, she doesn't try to channel. She doesn't hurl a knife at him. She just sort of watches the Fade come. When Lan gets wounded, she tries. Look at that. She is trying to channel here. And she's not, but she tries because that's Lan. She's trying to save him. And she can't. You know what saved him? An Aes Sedai who could channel. An Aes Sedai who could channel into the blade of a warder who had power assisting him. She's not able to help Lan anymore. She can't protect him. And I think that's it. I think it's the same thing. She's trying to protect Lan in the show by sending him away from her because she knows she has to keep going after Rand. Rand poster's over there. She has to keep going after Rand because that's her lifelong quest. She has lived through this fight that she thought she was going to die in. She didn't die. She's still going to go after Rand. She knows that is going to bring danger to her. She doesn't want Lan to get caught in it. That's why she's doing this. The other thing about this that I have to say, like, just as somebody who is obsessed with the Nynaeve-Moiraine dynamic, like from the books, like this is not something new to the show. I have been obsessed with that dynamic for years, for decades, for as long as I've been reading these books. What fascinates me about this interpretation of Moiraine, it's revealing a Moiraine insecurity that is very similar to a Nynaeve insecurity. In my interpretation of Nynaeve's character, a lot of the bravado, a lot of the anger, a lot of the things about Nynaeve that are definitely character flaws. Like when I say I love Nynaeve, I do not think she's perfect. She has a lot of character flaws, but a lot of those are her hiding her insecurities, and especially the insecurities that Moiraine, of all people, makes her feel, because Moiraine just comes into town and fights off the Trollocs and heals people that Nynaeve can't heal, and Moiraine does Nynaeve's job better than Nynaeve can do it. Even taking the kids away, Nynaeve thinks that's a mistake, and then in the books you see her figure out that Moiraine was right, and if Nynaeve had taken the kids away from Moiraine, then the kids would have died. So basically everything that Moiraine does shows Nynaeve that Moraine's better than her. So a lot of her, even her anger towards Moiraine, in my interpretation, is, you make me feel bad about myself, so I don't want to like you. So that is that. But this insecurity that I'm seeing in the way the show is interpreting Moraine's character reminds me of this part of Nynaeve. And this is part of why I am drawn to Nynaeve's character. So it is definitely drawing me in to Moraine's character. It's the same thing. It's this imposter syndrome. Moiraine has thought all these years that her ability to channel is what has given her strength. It is what has made her somewhat comparable to Lan. And now she doesn't have it anymore. And it's revealing to her who she thinks she really is. Now, I'm hoping that we're going to see in this season some things happen that show her that the power, her ability to channel isn't all she is. Like we saw a little glimpse of it in that first episode where she's able to outsmart Bail Domon in the negotiation. I'm hoping we get to see some of that because much like I enjoy watching Nynaeve's character arc of coming into her own, I want to see the same thing from her. This is a character arc that means something to me, obviously. Personally, it's why like I said, it's one of the main reasons I am attached to Nynaeve. So I would love to see it in Moiraine as well. Anyway, those are my thoughts on this particular storyline. I did say, even before the show came out, that this was the dynamic I was probably the most excited about. Now, I will say now, having watched the season, like the first 3 episodes anyway, this is the dynamic I'm most excited about. I never would have called this. Even after seeing this poster, I never would have called this. But I'm still, it's hurting me, but I'm enjoying this dynamic because of what it's showing me about both of these characters. And I hope to see more of it. But what do you think? What do you think of what's going on between Lan and Moiraine in the show? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like my content and you want to support me, I do have a Patreon that is also linked in the description below. To my patrons, thank you so much for your support. It truly does mean the world to me. So thank you so, so much. And with that, I am going to end this here. So please like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.